So here are 5 money lessons that I'm learning at the age of 24. For the most part, it's not in any specific order, but I'm still going to list it off as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Without further ado, let's go. I'm also currently working on my bike because the brakes are kind of messed up on it. So I'm going to try to work and talk at the same time. Probably won't be able to accomplish that, but nevertheless, let's give it a go. First thing I am learning, and have learned since I started working really. I started working at 18. Some people have definitely gotten in before me and been working since they were like 16, 17. But something I've noticed is that job hopping actually is a benefit versus staying at a company long term. I'm seeing people getting fired after been inside of a company for a while. You hear stories about it, of course, all over the place. But also the main benefit of job hopping is for better pay, which most people are wanting. Also, since it was in my thoughts the other day, I was thinking, why not job hop if you are 18? You get into the workforce at a young age. You don't know much, unless you have something that you're specifically wanting to go for. Like, hey, I want to be a lawmaker. Jesus, I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a doctor. I want to be an architect. I want to be a mason. Like, if you don't have that in mind at 18, why not join the workforce, do some retail, job hop, do some hospitality, job hop, go into a factory, job hop, because then you're gaining a whole lot of different experiences. And when you do so, now companies see, okay, well, you have this skill set, you have this skill set, you have this skill set. All those things you won't know how to do Excel set up Excel spreadsheets and files, and then also know how to do logistics, and also know how to housekeep, and also know how to perform great customer service if you're just staying at a factory. You see what I'm saying? So job hopping is actually very beneficial. So if you are under the age of 25, myself included, job hopping is actually a great benefit. Though I wouldn't do it too often, because I used to be that person that would job hop about once a month, quite literally. Wouldn't be at a job for no more than a month at a time before going on to the next place. And one of the people that I went to interview actually pointed it out, and I was like, so y'all do pay attention to that. I don't remember if I was rejected from that place. I'm trying to remember what place it was that pointed it out, and if I actually worked there. But I've done switch jobs so many times that kind of doesn't matter at this point, because I'm still employed. But essentially, somebody pointed out that I was not working at a place for more than a month at a time, so I started increasing the length of time that I've been working. And so now that I'm working at this other place, still retail, full time, I'm getting close to the 2-year mark, and I'm not growing anymore. I cannot be a supervisor at the place that I'm currently employed at because of my faith. So eventually I'm gonna have to leave, which is cool, because I want to get different experience anyway. I want to eventually go into the trades, so this is just a smoother transition for me. So job hopping is a benefit. Alright, time to zoom out on this thing. The second money lesson I'm starting to learn is that investing is no longer I could do that. No, at this point, you probably should. And essentially, I really say that because if you're not making a secondary income via a side hustle or a small business of some sort, then what are you doing? It is 2025. If at this point you cannot feel your purchasing power dwindling away, then I'm glad that you are well off to do, but for the vast majority of people, it just is at this point a necessity to be investing in something, so therefore you are making an additional income and preserving your wealth, your buying power. Look, I communicate best when I have notes, so I might as well just read what it is that I wrote down for all this stuff. Just because winging stuff off the top of my head, especially when it's something that I had thoughts of beforehand, doesn't really work well if I'm trying to ramble. You will own nothing and be happy. It still falls under investing as a should at this point. It's actually something that's been floating around the internet for a little bit now. I believe that was coined by somebody at the World Economic Forum earlier, I think. I don't even remember which year it was. But essentially, it's going to get to a point where, like they said, a normal human, man or woman, will go through life without ever owning any type of assets and be happy living that way. I don't like that. I don't like the sound of that. Really, that sounds very disturbing to me. You can't own your house. You can't own land. You can't own nothing, and you will be okay with it. So, how do you combat something that's being taken place amongst all the elites? Well, first and foremost, I would suggest that if you pay attention to the statement, you will own nothing and be happy. Start trying to get some stuff to own. Of course, after you own the stuff, aka land, property, then it's all about politics and pretty much keeping it out of the hands of big businesses, private equity, and anybody else who wants to take that away from you. If you've been paying attention, slowly over the years, subscription models have become the new way of life. You're subscribing to Kindle, you're subscribing to Amazon, you're subscribing to Live at this point. And I essentially believe that's exactly where they want us to be, where you don't own any of the stuff that at one point in time you could. At one point in time you can own an ebook. Now you're essentially renting it from Kindle, you're renting it from Amazon, you're renting it from whatever software company. At one point you could print your own papers off of your own printer, but now you have to have a subscription in order to print your own stuff. Like, why do I have to have subscriptions just so I can print stuff? Oh, I didn't pay for my subscription, so therefore you're not going to print. What? So, what do you have to do? What do you have to do to overcome that? Something that I've been thinking about is also concerning this whole private equity. This still falls under category 2, lesson number 2. You will own nothing, be happy. Investing is a must at this point. Private equity, as we have seen, have been destroying a whole lot of businesses, drowning them in debt, trying to sell it off to the next sucker who's wanting to buy a business for millions, if not billions of dollars. And one of the things that I've been seeing in the comment section is, of course, people are upset because businesses are going out and the normal people, the common folk like you and I, have to suffer the consequences of businesses being bought out by another businesses, either that being due to the price of everything is jumped up and all of that is falling upon us. If not, we're just being affected in another way, in one way or another. And one of the comments that I see often is that why is it businesses and shareholders are the ones who are profiting off of all of this and everybody else is suffering? Essentially, that's the line of logic or line of thought that they're using. And it's sad to say, but even though these businesses, these private equity firms, the shareholders are making money off of you suffering, the statement or the common saying, the idiom, if you can't beat them, join them, you might as well fall into that. Exactly why investing is something that you ought to be doing. Because at this point, like, if Walmart is not paying their employees well, but they're doing a whole lot of overtime, they can't get no health benefits whatsoever, why would I sit up here and not invest into the business? It's still going to grow no matter what. They're going to find ways to cut costs no matter what. They're going to find ways to expand no matter what. People are not going to stop shopping at Walmart no matter what. So why not just be the guy who invests in it? You become a shareholder as well. If you can't beat them, join them. Invest in it. Get paid dividends. The growth of the entire stock overall, you benefit from that as well. Don't fall into the victim mindset of, oh, well, I can't do nothing. You can do a little bit of something. You'll be ahead of those who aren't investing, especially if you get in now. You should have been in 5 years ago. But essentially, that's another reason why you should be investing. That's another reason why it's a must at this point. The third thing that I've been learning over the course of my 24 years on this earth is that cash isn't really king unless you have a lot of it. And for smaller people like you and I mean smaller as in don't have a lot of income coming into the house or assets to begin in life with, for us, keeping money inside of a bank account, earning 1% or less than 1%, isn't really feasible. And even putting it into a high yield savings account isn't all that great either, because inflation is still going to beat you. So, as weird as it is, I'm starting to experiment with putting money into the S&P 500 for the sake of using it like a bank account. Because if estimates are true, and I know it's always said that past returns is not going to be the same as future, so don't rely on it too heavily. But if it's been doing it for the past 30 years, why not give it a shot? So why not use the S&P 500 as a long-term bank account? And anything that you're trying to save, or anything that I'm trying to save for less than a year, use a high-yield savings account. Because you'll notice that even if you're wanting to save up for something that's under a year, you're not going to see prices fluctuate that much where it's going to be not feasible once you're trying to save up $1,000 or $3,000 before the end of the year, and by the time the end of the year comes, the item that you want to get is now $3,700. You're not going to, hopefully you don't start seeing it like that. So for me, anything that I'm trying to buy within the year limit, I'm just going to keep into a high yield savings account. Anything else that's going to take a little bit longer, like saving up for land, saving up for a house, that kind of stuff, yeah, put it into the S&P 500. That's what I'm thinking. It's weird, I know, but to me it makes more sense than keeping it all in a checking account. Yo, but like, these mosquitoes are kind of getting to me, so I'm going to try to make this video quick. So the fourth thing that I'm learning is that gold and silver are probably going to be the means of maintaining your wealth and purchasing power in a cashless society. We've been seeing crypto creep in. More and more people are buying Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Cardano, ADA. And we've been hearing, at least overseas, how CBDCs, or central bank digital currencies, are starting to take over in other countries like China. And stuff like that kind of concerns me, because now that is more controlled to the government to watch and to inspect what it is that you and I are doing on a daily basis. They know what we're spending our money on. They know who we're transferring money to. They know how much we're receiving, and they can track everything. Versus if you want to make some, I'm not saying do no shady stuff, but if you want to do some offline or private exchanges between you and a business, you and another person, now they're going to know everything about it. And one of the videos I was watching concerning China, or not even just China, but CBDCs in general, is that in China, during COVID, to stimulate the economy, China gave people money, right? Of course. But because it was all digital, it was all through a central bank digital currency, they put an expiration date on it. Like we can do that now? Now money can expire. But it was all for the sake of pumping the economy back up. Now imagine if 10, 15 years down the line, whatever money you make working at a job, they can put an expiration date on. Not only can they put an expiration date on, they can cap how much stays inside of your bank account, which is something that I'm also saying. Do you know how difficult life would be? Like, if they cap you at, say, $8,000, you can have no more than $8,000 in your account at more than one time. And not only that, it'll expire within, I don't know, a year or 6 months or 90 days. You won't be able to save up for a house. You won't be able to save up for land. You won't be able to really, heck, if they can give you the money, chances are they can control where it can and cannot flow to. So you can't go spend it on investments that'll help you break out of the system. Hey, if they don't want you buying Nike anymore, they can say you cannot purchase anything from the Nike website. Like, this is real things happening in our time that I can foresee 15, 20 years down the line. There's gonna be dang near no way escape out of this unless you just decide, hey, I'm gonna barter with everybody. Hey, you know how to fix a fence? Cool, I got some silver for you. Boom, here you go. If you want to maintain a high status of wealth, your best bet is to probably own gold and silver, because if you're watching, major countries, US included, China included, Japan, India, Germany, they are stockpiling a lot of gold right now. They've been doing it for years, but more so now that Basel III is about to roll out here in the US, it's becoming more evident that banks now have to hold physical gold inside of their vaults, so that if there was ever a crash in our economy, banks wouldn't be ran out of the physical dollars that they have. They have gold, right, as part of their securities, and they're keeping it on their bank account and their books, right? So have some gold, have some silver. I don't personally recommend having an ETF of all that, because why have an ETF of silver and gold when you can hold the physical thing in your hand? Nobody can take that away from you. And then who's to say that by the time you sell your ETF of silver, that you're able to obtain the physical asset? I'm seeing on some exchanges that, hey, yeah, you can invest into a silver ETF or a mining company, but they won't even give you physical silver unless you've purchased around 1,000 ounces worth of this stock, this ETF. So if you only put $300, $500 in over the course of 8 years, and you're like, oh man, I want to trade it in for some real silver now, guess what? You can't. You'll get your money back probably, if that, but you ain't gonna get no physical gold or silver out of it, because you didn't meet the minimum amount that they required of you before you can pull anything out. That would suck. So the last thing I'm learning at 24 years old when it comes to money, it's probably the most important thing, is I can't be stingy. Yeah, I see things coming on the horizon that sound fearful on the surface. If you don't have the spirit of fear, you'll be A-okay. But the things that I'm seeing up ahead could cause you to be super stingy with yourself. Like, I gotta prepare, and all you're doing is preparing, which is good. But at the same time, you need to not be stingy with yourself. You need to enjoy the money that you do have. It's probably one of the most important things that I'm learning, because for a year, I wasn't buying a whole lot of stuff for myself that I probably should have, just for the sake of getting through day to day. Like, I needed some new socks, but I was letting the ones I had get holes in them. I probably wear them like 2 or 3 times after that, and I was just throwing them out and not replacing them. I need to enjoy the money I have. I need to put it to good use instead of trying to always save up and prepare for the future to come. No, enjoy the money that you have. So, with that being said, I hope that you got something out of this. Bless y'all.